Good morning, everyone. I think, sorry, good afternoon from here. I think it should be around evening in Nigeria, if you're in Nigeria, Europe, all those places all together. So let me know, just to have an idea, how many people are attending this session for the first time? You can just use the, um, okay,
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
yeah.
Yeah.
So you can just raise your hand
Okay.
if you're attending for the first time.
Yeah, I'm attending for the first time actually. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
good,
I'm glad
good.
to be.
All right. And if I would know to, oh, for me, Aregbesola is surprised. What's the surprise there? Okay. But you're attending for the first time, I suppose. Okay, good. So if I ask again, how many people are planning on applying like to schools? You have started searching for schools, or you have found your school and then you have started the process of application? You can raise your hand too. Okay, good, beautiful. All right, so we just start immediately, straight away. Every other person that will join will meet us. So today, I said what we'll be discussing will be about statements of purpose, and then we'll be looking at few examples. I'll just show you some samples, different samples. It's the same samples that we have available online on Twitter, which we share around. So you'll be able to see those samples. Uh, and then if you have questions, you'll be able to ask your questions. And then another prayer statement of purpose, the things that you think, oh, is this right? Is this not right? And if you are bold enough, I can allow you share the screen and show us your sample of statement of purpose, and we will all review it together. Okay. If you think you can do that, so I'll allow you to share your screen so that um, you can we can share it and everyone review it together. Or if you think you don't have it, you cannot share your screen, but you want to send it to me so I can share it on the screen so everybody will review it together. So we laugh at your mistakes, but of course you will get better by doing that. So that will be fine too. But please take notes while I'm sharing those statement of purpose which others have written. It is not for you to copy or to just to copy it and then use it straight away and write the same thing or form the same story. No, it's just for you to see how uh, people write their statement of purpose and then what you you can expect to write or what you can write. Should I write about this or that? You will see all those things there. So first question one would want to ask is why statement of purpose in the first place? Why would they require to write a statement of purpose? Now, statement of purpose is what really shows what your interest is in, what you are interested in. Statement of purpose is what really defines you as an applicant. Yeah, of course, your grades, your we call it the CGP and co, all those things, yes, they are part of things that define you. But what really shows your interest, what you have done, what you want to do is your statement of purpose. Yes, the CV is part of it too. But with your statement of purpose, you are able to clarify things that uh, you cannot clarify. Someone is saying he cannot hear me. Adekunle Omole, what about now? Can you hear me? I'm not sure if you can. If you can hear me, let me know. Just say yes in the chat if you can hear what I'm saying. Just say yes in the chat. So, okay. So probably from his end then. All right. Thank you. So I was saying that the statement of purpose is what really defines you, is what really, with writing your statement of purpose, you have the opportunity to really explain explain things about you, explain things you want to do, and make some clarifications concerning things that may be confusing. Okay, and then in your statement of purpose also, you're able to state your interests and you're able to talk about your future goals. Okay, so first thing I want to say about statement of purpose is that it is personal. It is personal to you. You are not meant to see. When I see a general statement of purpose, when I've reviewed statement of purpose for people in the past and I've seen, oh, if the line is breaking, it must be the network problem then, okay. Sorry for that. I'm sorry on behalf of Nigeria, please. So,
why he's dealing with a detergent company makes no sense.
200 million.
Paying for himself.
Sorry, I think I asked everybody to be muted, okay. All right, so I was saying that I've reviewed different statement of purpose and I've seen different people. Some people I've seen them write just a general statement of purpose. They just write things general, nothing particular to them. And I've seen some people write statement of purpose like as if they're writing motivational speech. And then you start giving the interviewers, the reviewers, start giving them punchlines as if you are rapping or no, you don't need all those stuff. Be real, be genuine, it is personal to you, okay? What you are doing is actually telling your story, but you are not just telling any story, all right? We are not asking you to tell us, oh, I'm from Elisha, I'm from a family of 20, I'm the last child of the family, I love to eat rice. No, we don't care about you eating rice and beans. We don't care about the number of children in your family, except it is related to your research, except it's related to what you want to do research about. Probably you're doing a research on maybe gender and childbirth, blah, blah, blah. And then you want to talk about how you were interested in that because you were number 20 in your family and your mom was was at the point of death when you were giving birth to, because she's been giving birth to children on. And then you want to link that, yes, that's a good story. That can serve as an interest, okay? So you want to tell us a story of how you became involved, what spurred your interest, what's, for example, if you are doing physics, for example, and then the way you became interested was that when you were young, your mom took you to Germany and you were able to meet Albert Einstein before he fled to US during the World War or before the World War. And then you want to tell that story. Yes, beautiful. Meeting Albert Einstein spurred your interest. Made you interested in physics. You may want to say that's a good story. But now you're telling me you've met the president of Nigeria, Buhari, and then you are putting it in your story, talking about physics. What's the correlation? Okay, so when we say you are telling your story, you want to tell things that spurred your interest. You want to talk about things that spurred your interest, how you became involved with this thing, okay? And you also want to tell us what you have done so far about it. Okay, so you want to send okay, let me just put my email. So for those who want us to use their SOP, to review their SOP generally, let me just send you an email to send it to. I'm sending the email to the chat now. All right, so, good. So I just sent the email there. Okay, so it's just basically for the purpose of today's meeting. Let me use my other screen. 1 minute, please. Gmail. Okay, let me. Yeah, good. Okay, so if you want to send it there, you can do that. All right, so you want to talk about things that spur your interest and what you have done about it so far. Okay, things that spur your interest and what you have done about it so far. And then you want to talk about the experiences you have gained so far, okay, in that line. Now, that is your story. That is personal to you. I don't expect to read about this your story in another person's SOP. Okay, because it should be personal. It is personal to you, right? And then you also want to talk about what you are doing presently. Okay, you want to talk about what you are doing presently, or in fact, let me say, your story, of course, will include what you have done about it, the course you studied. That is what made you study the course you studied and the grade you finished with and all those stuff. Okay, there's the research you got yourself involved with. You want to talk about all those ones. So now you want to talk about what you do presently and what you are interested in doing. Okay, and that's why how you start talking about, okay, I'm interested in this field. I saw this professor's research and it aligns with my research interests, all those stuff that you say when you write messages to professors. Okay, you want to talk about those research interests. Why? Because this is one of the things that helps the department to plan. Now, I've been here at least for some time. I've seen my advisor come in and say, oh, those that are applying that, we're not sure if we get anybody join nuclear from this new batch, or oh, 2 people are joining nuclear from this new batch. Now, they've not gotten admitted. They've only seen their statement of purpose. From their statement of purpose, they may say, okay, the department can cater for this course. For now, the department cannot cater for this course. And sometimes that's what made the difference between those who are chosen and those who are not chosen. I remember one of the schools I applied to, University of South Florida. I wrote about medical physics, something that has to do with cancer, radiotherapy, and other stuff there. Okay, and then I was interviewed, and then one of the things I was told was that, okay, because in my statement of purpose, I also wrote that I have other research interests, and my research interest is not limited to what I've written. And I wrote 1 or 2 things that I'm also interested in. Okay, so one of the things I was asked during the interview was that, what are other research areas that I'm interested in? Okay, because the slot for those who will be chosen into that medical physics, that cancer, the recording will be available, Stephen, it will be available. So one of the questions they were asking me, because the slot number of people that will be chosen for those that will be for the medical physics / cancer research, blah, 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 is limited, maybe 2 or 3 per year. And they are not sure I will be making that list because of that, because it was so streamlined. But you see, I already told them that, yes, I can see some statement of purpose there, Innocentia, Michael, yeah, but we come to that, okay? So they were able to tell me, okay, this one will not be available for you. Please, you can mute yourself. All right. So they were able to tell me that this will not be available. Now, it was because of what I wrote, and I wrote other research areas I'm also interested in. So they asked me, okay, which other area am I interested in? And I mentioned it. I mentioned the name of the professors. And they said, okay, fine. And they asked me, okay, do I really want to choose them? Blah, blah, blah. Do I rate them? Do I think I'll be going with them? They want to be sure I want to choose them, okay? Of course, eventually I didn't choose them. All right, but they want to be able to plan ahead for people that are coming in. Now, the truth of the fact is that, of the matter is that it is not 100% accurate that, or certain that those who are coming with a particular interest will continue that line, because they may come to change it when they get here, but at least it helps them to plan ahead, okay? And when those changes occurs, I mean, those they are permitted, all right? They are really, really permitted. For example, for FSC, I wrote that I want to do condensed matter physics. Those are the stuff I wrote when I was coming in, but eventually I'm doing nuclear now. I had to come back to nuclear, okay? So you need to, that's why you want to write about the research you are interested in. Now, and this is an area where many make mistakes. Some just say, oh, this immunotherapy, that is what I must do. I cannot do anything else. And then you have gone to check the website. No professor is doing immunotherapy. And you're writing your statement of purpose based on immunotherapy, they will not admit you. It's not because you are not good enough, but because they don't have what you want to do. And they won't want to disappoint you. So you now come and you'll be grumbling, looking for a professor doing immunotherapy, and you can't find any professor. And they'll feel like they have disappointed you. So they would, because they don't have what you want to do, so they won't choose you. So that means for you to write statement of purpose, I see some people, they write the same statement of purpose. They apply to UCF, they send the same statement of purpose. They apply to Oriba Michel I University, they send the same SOP. They apply to Bejaludo College, they send the same SOP. No, that's wrong. That's very, very, very wrong. What you want to do is to see what are the research interests of these professors here. And then you want to write according to those research interests, which should be your research interest too, because you are looking for funding. In fact, I say it many times, that many times you don't have too much choice. No, when I say, some people say, oh, it must be radiation physics. Aside radiation physics, nothing else. I won't do anything else. It must be medical physics. And I tell people, I said, medical physics in the US, for example, they are not, this number of schools doing medical physics are not as much as nuclear physics. Medical physics is a branch of nuclear physics. It's one of the applications of nuclear physics. It's an application course. Many times it's a, what do we call this? When you link things together, interdisciplinary course, okay? That you are doing it with those in School of Medicine. And that's why those people in USF were telling me that, see, they have 2 or 3 slots. Most likely medical students will get the slot. A physics student may not like to get the slot. That's what they were telling me. Okay, so if you are too rigid and say, oh, it must be this particular course, it must be this particular research, it may take time for you, because if that your course does not really have so much funding, you will definitely be on your own for another 1 year. Okay, so you want to go through the website, see what the professors are working on. You want to see what the professors are working on, and you're able to align yourself to it. Your course of interest, your research of interest, is the research that has funding at this level. Now, I'm not saying you don't have passion, or I'm just advising you. See, when you finish your PhD or your master's or wherever, you can do research anywhere you want to do research, anywhere, in any field you want to do research, okay? So far you can get funding, you can get grants. But as of now, your interest is in what is funded. Your interest is what is funded. So you want to go through the website, see professors, see what the professors are doing. You can send them messages too, to tell them that you're interested in their work. Read 1 or 2 of their papers, even if you don't, of course, you won't understand everything, that's so sure. At least read the introduction, see what is going on, read the results, read the process, what they use, try and get some things, get some questions you can ask, okay? So you write the professors, of course, that's another issue entirely. All right, so you want to write those things there, what you are interested in. You can list 1 or 2 professors that you love their research interests, okay? And strategically see if they have funding too. Some professors will say, we announce their funding on their website, that they have funding for 3 students, they have funding for 5 students, they have funding for 1 student, blah, blah, blah. They will write it there. Okay, you want to strategically know about that too. And of course, it's good to apply to, put professors' name who has funding. And professors, one thing again is, once professors see that, once you're able to convince a professor and then they give you the go-ahead to include their name in your statement of purpose, it is very possible that the professor will speak for you when the decision time comes around, when they want to make the decision who to admit, who not to admit, and all those stuff. It's very possible the professor will speak for you. Okay, so you want to speak to the professor, you want to put his name down, and when the people reading this stuff, your statement of purpose, say the professor's name, and then they say that, oh yes, this guy is willing. You are a step closer to what do you call it, to getting into the school. So you also want to tell them, of course, why you want to work with the professor. Yes, you definitely tell them which is your research interest. Part of your story is your motivation, okay? Your story, how you became, which I mentioned earlier, how you became interested and all those stuff is your motivation. And then, of course, you mentioned the field. That's very, very, very important. You mentioned the field. Now, one thing again that I see many students not including in their statement of purpose is why you are choosing the school. Why are you choosing the school? Very important. Tell them why you are choosing the school, why you are choosing the department in the school. Tell them, oh, they have a program where researchers, maybe an interdisciplinary program where people in biology could work with people in medicine and to see the effect of your research and blah, blah, blah. Tell them if that's what you love. For example, in FSU, one of the things I wrote in my statement of purpose is that, oh, there's a national lab in FSU, which is the highest powered lab, highest magnetic powered lab in the world. Has the highest magnetic energy. I mean, they're able to generate the highest magnetic field in the world. National Mag Lab, National Magnetic Lab. Those are some of the things I wrote in my statement of purpose. That, hey, CF, you have the Mag Lab in your school, and I want to join FSU because of the Mag Lab. It's the highest powered laboratory in the world. I love this, blah, blah, blah. Tell them some of the features. It may be an institute there, an institute of clinical diseases control or disease agency, blah, blah, blah. Those are some of the things you want to write. Include it in your statement of purpose. Talking about teacher to student ratio is not really a strong point where saying they have 4:1 ratio, teacher to blah, blah, blah. No, that's almost like a general stuff. Okay, that's almost like a general stuff. Yeah, those are some of the things you see online as ranking issues and the likes, but yeah, still not particular enough to you. Remember, the statement of purpose is your story. It is personal. Okay, and then when you use statistics, put reference. When you use statistics in your statement of purpose, for example, if you are talking about poverty, you are saying the number of children that live under $1 per day is so. You want to be sure of that statistics you are giving them. Don't give them fabu, okay? You want to be sure that that is correct. And you want to say, oh, according to, put references. You want to say according to maybe United Nations, the number of children going hungry per day is million, blah, blah, blah. Don't try to gaslight them. I mean, they have intelligence too. Okay. And you should also know many of those that will be reviewing your statement of purpose, some of them or many of them are not natural English speakers. Many of them are migrants in the US too. Some of the professors migrated from China, some from Russia, some from Ukraine, blah, blah, blah. So you want to use simple to read English. You don't want to put GRE English, IELTS English, or the TOEFL English. You don't want to use English like big English that even those ones will not know the meaning. Remember, they are not only reviewing your own SOP, they are reviewing tens, sometimes hundreds of SOP, depending on the school. So nobody has the time to start looking for dictionary. Oh, what's the meaning of this word, enigma, or what's the meaning of this conundrum, or blah, blah, blah. Use simple English, clear English, simple, straightforward English. Vocabularies, very simple vocabularies, use it, okay? You don't want to start writing things they will not understand. You are not, maybe except you are applying for English anyway, applying to the English department. But when you're dealing with generally just a simple, easy to read English, and you're not a motivational speaker, write like an applicant. And then you also want to tell them your goals after graduation. What are your goals after graduation? How will you be of use to the academic community? You want to tell them, oh, these are my goals after graduation. I intend to become a professor, or I intend to become a researcher to this, or I intend to start a company that has to do with this, and this, or I intend to come back to my own country, Nigeria, which for many people is a lie. So you want to tell those things that you want to do after graduation. You want to let them know that yes, for them to train you, they would have trained a scholar, they would have trained someone who is who will give back to the community, to the world at large. Okay. All right. So let's look through some statement of purpose, which I have here, and then we will. I'll be sharing my screen, some statement of purpose, and then I'll just make you see some of the things that some other people in the past have written. Okay. Start here. All right. This is a statement of purpose now from someone. This is a personal statement. Let me see this. Wait, okay, let's start with this. There's someone saying, said I hold a Bachelor of Science degree in Geography from Leife. During my undergrad, I gained excellent practical analysis. My commitment to academic research, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Furthermore, now, even though for me, I would have preferred a different introduction, but I mean, this is not bad too. And then the group 6, among other things. So first thing, he told us about himself. Now he told us research excellence manifested by imagining top 3% in graduating class. And then he told us he's involved in community development activities. Yeah. So if all these community development stuff, all these NGO things are related to what you are doing or you want to do, you can write it. In fact, even if it's not related, so far it's something that has to do with leadership, you can also include it in your statement of purpose. It's very, very, very important. Okay, if they want to see leadership skills too, it's what is needed. Okay, so the increasing, oh, sorry. Which one is it now? How did I miss it? Maybe this, not this. Okay, yeah. All right. So the increasing worldwide awareness concern about the environmental impact of fossil fuel have lent enormous weight to renewable energy sources. Yeah, okay. So I think this guy is trying to talk about energy sources, green energy, green New Deal, blah, blah, blah. Green technologies in Nigeria, more routines are generated on a daily basis. However, most of these are indiscriminately disposed into seas. So now he has stated a problem. So this paragraph is talking about problem. So he has to talk about solution now. Has made me develop. Now, you see how he linked it. He was able to talk about a problem and how it spurred him, how it encouraged him to, how he developed his own interest in green energy, green business. So said the above stated has made me develop keen interest in green business, particularly biogas. Okay, so he stated a problem and he told us, okay, this is why I've developed an interest in biogas and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Beneficials and this can lead to. I therefore decided to build a career in green business. So he told us what he has done, okay, because of his interest. So what did he do? He went to Cairo to study. So after MSc at Cairo, at AEC, he wanted to take up a green business through biogas production, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, it's applying to AUC. Okay, I see. So now this paragraph is talking about why he chose AUC. Okay, it's talking about why he chose AUC. Okay, though personally, I would have preferred for him to have heading, to have his SOP, to have heading, something like, I'll show you an example. I saw one example here with heading. Okay, this one does not have heading too. At least let me look for that example. Heading. Okay, I think this is a specific scholarship. Now you must know that some schools want you to answer questions like this, okay? But this is not the general format. Okay? Some schools want you to answer questions like this, but this is not a general format. Personal statement. Why can't I find this? Okay, for example, this one has statements, questions too. This is not the example I want. Let me see. Okay, we'll come to that anyway. So let's see this SOP, the second SOP. Now, this guy introduced us, brought us to his childhood days when why he was designated as a prefect, laboratory prefect. Okay, and then how it led to his desire, okay, in translational medicine. And then he was able to tell us how that led him to do something that has to do with medicine in UCH, Ibadan. And then he told us what he got from there, what he was able to develop, I mean, what he achieved there. Then, sorry. Okay, so he told us now why he chose International Masters in Innovative Medicine due to unique circular bench to site that it has adopted. Okay, now I think there is I don't, in medicine, maybe bench to site would mean to be able to do from lab or from, to work with real patient or something, I don't know. They will understand that term. Okay, and then it's okay, previous education, he has linked it from biochemistry and public health, given the foundation knowledge, okay, at that university for what will be done at that university. Now, that's one good point. So you must be able to tell us how the courses you've done has prepared you for what you want to do. Okay, your background, how it has prepared you. Remember, that's the whole essence of telling your story. Okay, now, this is a good point. The lack of research funding is a significant issue in Nigeria. You must be able to talk about the fact that you need funding. It's very, very, very important. Now, one of the things I mentioned when I was writing my statement of purpose is that, yeah, I have an interest in a certain research area, but I've not done research there before. Okay, because I know that's one question many people want to ask. What if you have not done research in that area you want to do before? So I've not, condensed matter, I didn't do research in condensed matter. What I did research in Nigeria was about radiation and health physics. So when I was writing my SOP, I was able to tell them that, see guys, I've not done research in this area before, but I have an interest in it. Okay, but after saying that, I was able to tell them where I have my research experience, and I was able to tell them this is what I've done before, and I've gained research skills, okay, which I know can be applicable to this new research area that I want to do. Okay, because I had, for me, my mind was like, oh, this is where the funding is. Let me go to where the funding is. Okay, so and I told them, yes, we don't have the research, the necessary funding for that type of research in my country. Okay, I told them I was able to do research in the area where we have funding and the equipment. All right, that's a good point too. So the lack of research funding is a significant issue in Nigeria, and the high cost of many of these equipment makes them unaffordable for young scientists. Okay, and then he moved on to talk about how we formed a small group, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then it talks about the needs, what it needs to do. Okay, now this last paragraph talks about what it will do after graduation, which is very, very, very important. Remember, I said that. Said immediately after my master's program, I will apply to an industrial-based PhD program in translational medicine. Along my career journey, I will want to grow my company, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So you want to tell them what you will do after graduation, what your goals are. Okay. So these are beautiful stuff. You can check some of the samples of the SOP. Yeah, and remember, as I said, these are just templates for you to see what has been done. It's not for you to copy and paste, okay? It's not for you to copy and paste. Sam is here, Samarawu, you can see it on his pinned tweet. That's where I also got it from. That's where I opened this one from, in his pinned tweet. Okay, so let's pick one person that has sent SOP, Innocentia. I love that name. Why did I like your name? Innocentia. Yeah. So let me open this. Then we will, okay, before I open this and we start, before we start editing, or we start, I want you to ask questions if you have questions. Let me take a few questions and then we come to this together. So any question? Do you have anyone with any question? Okay, let me just share the screen and then we move on with this. Okay. All right. So she said a desire to extend my knowledge and an enthusiasm to solve the demanding problems fails. Now, you want to be careful about your grammar too, okay? That I've said you don't need to use big grammars. Also, you should know that you should use, of course, there will be mistakes when you write. You should be able to spot those mistakes when you read it once, twice, 3 times, or 4 times. You'll be able to check those mistakes. A desire to extend my knowledge. As I'm reading it, if you feel there's anything that needs correction, so I want you to speak up, you will always spot errors, okay? Even if it's your own and you are reading it for a second or third time, you will always spot errors. A desire to extend my knowledge and an enthusiasm to solve the demanding problem faced, maybe you want to say faced by health sectors. Problem faced by or faced in the health sector. Which one is the correct grammar? It should be in, I believe. Motivated me to I'm looking at I'm going to pursue masters in physical therapy. I believe that my education background instils me the qualities required to meet the rigor of this demanding course and subsequently the profession. Let me move this screen, this to my other screen. Sorry. One minute, please. I've lost my screen. I'm using the screen here and I just lost it. Let me stop sharing and start again. Uh, let me share again. Sorry, 1 minute. We are using multiple screens. You face this problem sometimes. And it's just to make our work efficient. Yeah. This I'm still having problem with my screen. Yeah, cannot share. Don't share it now. What can you see on the screen now? Can someone just say something?
A couple of SOPs.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
The what?
You have a couple of SOPs. That's the Google Docs, the Google
Oh,
folder.
that's what it's showing.
Right. That's what showing here.
Okay, let me. Okay, good. All right, I think I'm up on the situation now. All right, so I want to show Innocentia's SOP. So is it showing our SOP now?
Yes, please.
Okay, good. All right, so we said a desire to, someone made some corrections, so please just keep your correction coming. Sometimes I can't see the charts straight away, and that's why we have two screens. I don't know what is messing up with my screens. A desire to extend my knowledge and solve the demanding problem faced. So do we agree in the health sector, right?
Yeah.
In the health sector. So they motivated them to pursue masters in physical therapy. I believe that my educational background and instilled in me the qualities required to rigor of this demanding course and serve the profession. I bring along with me a strong grasp of fundamentals in physical fitness, physical health education, safety education, personal. Though I'm not very comfortable with the way you have mixed the capital letters here. So there are some things you should look into, okay? All this aspect, all these parts. All right. And I will still ask questions concerning this first paragraph, okay? I became first exposed while watching my father at a young age perform what I think it should be performed. I don't know if anyone agree with me.
Yeah, perform.
Yeah. What we term miracle on my brother who was almost left right from waist down, right? That's what you intend.
Miracle should be in quotes. Miracle
Yes,
should be
in quotes. Very true. Very true. So take note of those corrections. Okay. And this waist, this spelling there's a mistake there. That might be a problem with Google. No, it can't be Google. What you are using that makes the correct autocorrect. Okay. Growing up with a brother, personally, I would believe this paragraph should be what is in first paragraph. Personally, yeah. So this paragraph, because that's your story, that's a very big motivation. Remember what I was saying when we started, that you want to tell your story, how you became involved, what spurred your interest, okay? So, in fact, the desire is not even what the problem being faced in the health sector. This is what you saw firsthand. This second paragraph is the story you saw. first hand. So growing up with a brother was, so I believe it should be in first paragraph. Growing up with a brother was almost paralyzed on both legs due to injection he received at infancy. My parents tried all they could to raise some member of faith. My father took charge and feared that his son was. I watched my father tend to him every morning and evening with a set of splinters he made from Rafrepam, mixture from some set of leaves, pigna from nearby local child, popularly called twice a week. He took him out to practice walking using a pair of locally made clothes. So you are, let me ask, before I finish reading your SOP, I want to make a guess that you are writing about physiotherapy, right, Innocentia? Are you writing about physiotherapy? Is Innocentia still there? Okay. Can't hear from her. Let's just continue. Gradually, my brother began to walk.
She replied on the group, on the chat rather.
What did she say? Yes, right?
She said yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Why is my chat not showing? Zoom with his menu Walasha. Okay. Now, so I believe this second paragraph should be your first paragraph. And remember, this magic should be in code because that didn't really perform in magic. That just it's what general term magic then. Okay. So during my diploma, I did an unpaid so called. Okay, now because from what I'm saying, this you want to make your paragraphs flow into one another. Okay, so when you finish talking about this, let's assume this is your first paragraph. I'm expecting that you want to tell us that that is what spurred you to study, what do you call it, physiotherapy. That's what you want to say. Okay, now, in fact, all these ones are still too early. This part are still too early to talk about in your statement of purpose. So after this paragraph, which should be your first paragraph, you want to move to the fact that, okay, that is why you started studying, you studied physiotherapy, you want to talk about your undergraduate. We are not talking about this yet. Let me see probably if you did that. Why the signs of us name is personal connection with that the profession.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Hello? No?
Oh, really? Can every other person hear what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
And she really needs this because
Yes, we can hear you.
she really needs this. We can't have someone who will be transcribing for her in the chat now. It's not visible. Innocent, can you log out and log in again? Oh, she can't even hear me. Let me see. My chat. Okay, so yeah, so Innocent, I think they're telling you now you can log out and log in again. Because we can hear her clearly, but she can't hear us. Hello, Innocentia.
Hello? Yeah, I can hear you a bit, but it's not clear. It's breaking.
Oh, it must be the network issue then. Because you really need this review, I tell you.
Yeah, I do.
You really need it.
I've been
From what
spotting.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
You really need. Okay, so let me move again.
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Hope you can still hear me.
Yes, the recording will be available, right?
Yes, it will be available. Good. it will be
Good.
available. So
Okay.
just
Okay.
try
Continue.
your best here, and then you could be able to find the recording later. Okay.
All right.
So now you want to talk from this first paragraph. Remember, we have made this your first paragraph. You want to be able to move into the fact that it encourages you to study physiotherapy. Then the next paragraph should be studying physiotherapy and what you did. Okay. I want to look for that paragraph here. Why fascinating? Why the spinal connection in the field? This should be after what you studied. Furthermore, that's nice skill. Okay, and then I can see you didn't even end well. So your next paragraph after this one, which is your first, should be that you studied physiotherapy, okay, and what you did while studying physiotherapy, okay, and then you start talking about the experiences you've gained, which we also include all these parts. You did unpaid volunteer job, blah blah blah, where you code based high school girls, yes. I mean, and I believe this is very, really, very, this is part of your field. This is part of things you do in your field. We have physiotherapists on teams as from the doctors. When you have the teams, they are doctors. They usually have physiotherapists. Okay, so then you start talking about what you did. Like after that, you did physiotherapy, your experiences. Then you talked about you worked with a professor somewhere. Yeah, this professor, it should be part of that paragraph too. And then in this thing, this is a general SOP. You didn't talk about the fact that you are interested in a professor. You didn't talk about the fact that there's a school that interests you. I believe this is not for a particular school. Probably you just wrote this generally. Okay. And then helping others achieve their physical goals and when you get to acquire the knowledge necessary in order to gain the passion, the major parts, but having empathy. And if I must say, this paragraph too is a very general paragraph. It's not, I don't know if anyone will agree with me. It's a very general paragraph. It's not talking about about you in particular.
Yes, the paragraph is not specific about.
It's not specific, exactly. And remember, we are saying that your SOP is about you, is your story. Now, a good way, I believe, to end your statement of purpose is to talk about your plans after graduation, what you want to do. Okay, this is general. This is what I mean. General thing. People want to care for people. Yes, you have the drive and passion to change lives through this interpersonal profession. That is not really personal. That's not hitting the point well. Okay, you want to talk about that personal thing you want to do after graduation. Remember the examples I showed. Someone said want to continue building his company, his blah, blah, blah company, okay? You may talk about the fact that you want to teach, make research, or open your own physiotherapy, whatever, for your sports children. Maybe you notice that the children you work with, they don't have a specialized physiotherapy fitness training that they do or that they have, and then you want to give back to the community. You can talk about those things as part of your goals eventually, or the fact that you want to do research. Okay, you may talk about those facts. During my undergraduate study, I led a couple of which involves application exercise to reduce the effect. This is a good paragraph, okay? This is a good paragraph, but where to place it is the issue. You want to place it after talking about how you entered physiotherapy, the courses, the things you did, and then you want to make this as part of your exam of your experience studying physiotherapy. That's where you want this paragraph to be, okay? And then remember I said that you want to include paragraph concerning the professors that you want to work with, okay? And I tell you, if you align this well, you will have a very beautiful statement of purpose. I mean, your story, this first story is so real. Everyone that reads this first story will be attached to your story. will be attached to your story. They want, because it fits in, your background fits into what you studied. Okay, now it's about you connecting both together and what you want to do.
All right.
I believe that will help, Cynthia.
Yeah. Some.
Yeah.
Now, let's say you have aspirations to carry out this research. On completion of your master's, you don't want to stay within the scholar world. You want to maybe venture back into the industry full time. And how do you sell that to a professor, considering you want to utilize his funding while you study, but you still have your eyes out there so without making him feel like, okay, I work with him and he's breaking back into the industry again to thrive. Is it one thing I've been thinking about as a way of maybe trying to present that without being like exploiting his budget? Is that's how I feel anyway. I may be wrong. Yeah,
okay,
but
so
I am looking at it like, okay, what if I talk about, because most of these schools, if not all, have research centers within the school that work with industry. And you're trying to sell it like, okay, look, I've seen your research centers here that work with the industry, and I feel there's a role I could play while being like a link with the industry, and that may come across as, okay, he stands to gain from you even on completion of your research. How does that sound?
Okay, so the fact is, not everybody will stay in the academic world, and then professors know that people are going out, people are doing, are going to the industry, and not everyone is staying. So number one, there is that understanding, and then number two, you just must be able to say that you will be productive. That's what's most important. That you'll be productive. For example, your past record may speak for you about productivity in terms of research that you have done, in terms of what many schools want is people who will come and be able to publish papers. That's one of the things that increases the visibility of the school. Okay, so if you're able to prove this, these are the things you need to prove. It's not compulsory to say that you will stay in the industry. I mean, they know that's not feasible. So they are training for the industry too, not necessarily for the academic world. Of course, when you're joining the industry, you will still have to learn some basic things, some other things, but they are training for the industry too. The main point is that you want to be productive, you will be productive.
Okay.
Yeah, so I understand the concern. Yeah, but I mean, one of the things I discussed with my professor earlier on, before we started work, is, okay, what is the plan? And then she told me that she knows that many people want to go to the industry, many people want to, and we know, we used to make fun, not just we just talk about it. That those in the industry, they just start getting $120K per month. I mean, per year rather, $120K per year, and then that is not feasible for someone in the academics. Before you start getting $120K per year, you need to get to a certain level. Okay. I mean, it's just what we just talked about jokingly, and then they know many people want to go to the industry. Of course, they still appreciate it too when they see people say they want to stay in the academic world to continue to do things together and the likes. They appreciate it too.
Yeah. So Sam, I also want to say something.
Yes, Sam.
So I think typically you don't even need to tell anybody if you want to stay in the industry or in the academia while applying. You do that when you're already in the program and you're talking about your career progress. So your job as a master student at the time is to publish paper and finish your master's. If you decide to go on after your master's, it's up to you. If you decide to leave that space like after your master's, it's up to you. For instance, in my case, while I was doing my master's degree, I got a professor, as my PhD. Even though right now we are still publishing papers, but I'm still considering not to do the PhD at all. But I can't tell him that, okay, I don't want to do, because I don't know if I want to do now or not. So at the time, whatever you're doing, like Sam said, be productive. Do your best at the time, because you really, I've seen people who finished PhD, went back to the industry, and after like 5 years, they said they were tired, and they went back to the academia. So
Yeah.
don't start
That's
now
true.
to say I don't want industry. I don't like. I don't even know what I want. What I want is anything that will give me money, will give me peace of mind, will give me joy and progress. So be open to stuff. When you get to the masters, you might find out why do you masters. You might even be let to do a PhD. But if you start from now and say I don't want to do a PhD, you've already lost that chance. You've already lost that chance. So please don't do that.
All right. Thanks.
So somebody's asking a question. How do you know if a course has funding? So number one, you can ask the department. Okay, you can send message to the graduate coordinator. Is there funding for this thing? Then number two, professors also advertise their course, their research, right? And then they say, oh, we need students. And then they mention how much the student will be funded with. They mention the amount, oh, 20,000 per year, 25,000, 30,000, blah, blah, blah. And then they mention those stuff. And then they make it available on their website, either the school's website, the department's website, the lab's website, or their own personal website. That way you can know. And of course, you can also know schools that have funding using, there's this, what's the name of this again? It measures how much funding, how much research funding these schools get. I used to share it on Twitter regularly from time to time and in these meetings. I can't remember now. But basically you can ask the school straight away that I want to know if there is funding for this course. Because so I've seen in recent times they gain admission and then the school will not give them funding. It's like waste of application fee. If you know ahead that the school does not have funding, you wouldn't have, the department does not have funding for you, wouldn't have applied to the department. But again, many departments fund students. It's just that they don't give funding to everyone. They give funding to those who they feel are very high in their pool of applicants who are rating so high, and they've asked others to come and pay. It's a business venture too, really. It's a business venture too. Some just say, oh, let's give some scholarship and then let others come. Okay, Carnegie, yeah, this is what I was trying to remember. Carnegie classification of schools. But don't base everything, your decision on what you see there. If you just type Carnegie classification of schools, then John is also saying NSERC. So I think that should help too. So what you see in Carnegie classification of schools is the classification of schools according to the fundings they receive, according to research output. Now, schools with research output, which high research outputs, are much likely to have funding too. Of course, the surest way to still know is to send message to the graduate coordinator and ask. Okay? And they will tell you, okay, we fund students, so. All right. So something I was looking through a faculty website of a school in Canada. Few professors announced that they are accepting students. Is it proper to write them and ask if they have funding? Sam, what do you think? What do you guys do in Canada?
He's gone.
Oh,
He's gone for some.
He's gone. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, and we don't have Canada here again. Okay,
No.
so I know that in Canada, for you to get funding actually is by writing the professors. In US, it is not compulsory to write professors. Okay, but it's good. But in Canada, I heard that you have to write them to be able to secure funding.
If I can rely on the information on the websites from Memorial University and the University of British Columbia, where Sam is,
yeah,
they are actually quite forthright that you need to reach out to the professors.
Yeah, in Canada, most times you need to reach out.
Yeah, so they now have the, I think the link John shared is where for social sciences, I think, yeah, all the grants, all the federal grants, you can locate them on that link. I think for sciences, there's another platform you see all the science grants for Canada.
Canada.
Yeah.
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 So
Which
it's
helps
good.
with the benefiting professors listed as well. So you know which professor has funding and which
As a
doesn't.
fund.
Yeah.
So it's good. Write them. Okay. The first thing is not even to talk about funding, because the first thing is to start talking about the research.
Research itself. Yeah.
It is about talking about the research, what you have read about their research, what you want to do, and if they accept you, okay, that shows that they know that they are bearing the responsibility for your funding. Okay, so they know that. All right. So is there any other question about statement of purpose? We have said many things. So Innocenta, you know that you have a lot of work to do on that. In fact, what you wrote is very general, very, very general.
Yeah.
But you have a good
Samuel
story.
is back now. So if you have a
Yeah, Sam. So
But sorry,
someone asked a question
when somebody
about.
called me, so my stuff hasn't like left.
Okay. So someone has a question, though we've answered it, but
Okay.
of course it would be good for you to talk about it too. Someone said, I was looking through the faculty website of a school in Canada. So a few professors announced that they have accepting students. Is it proper to write them and ask if they have funding?
Oh well, of course, for sure. So because my understanding is, if a professor in Canada says he's accepting students, it means that he already has funding to give them. Because in Canada, you cannot accept a student for research without providing funding. It's impossible. Except the student willingly decides that if you don't have funding, they can fund themselves. I've seen students who apply for research programs. The professor says, I don't have funding, but if you have money, you can come and stay in my lab. You know, so it's okay to honestly, like, whether a professor says he has funding or not, there's nothing wrong in asking them, hello, I want to work with you. So typically, my professor, as for instance, when I actually met him, was when I got my MasterCard in 2018. But at the time, there was no application on the snip. But I sent him an email like, hey, I have MasterCard. I'm coming to Canada, and I'm hoping to do my PhD after I finish. It was like, okay, I don't have money right now, but let's see. So when I finished in 2019, I asked him, okay, how far is there money? He said, yes, there's money. I told him, okay, I'm not ready yet. I want a PR. And then now there's COVID. So I didn't even know the excuse I'll give him after my PR. But anyway, and that excuse will come. But but right now, there's no requirement. I've always send them emails, whether they have funding or not. In fact, some people might not have funding for you this year, but if you keep in touch with them, they might ask you to send your files, and then when they get funding, they will just email you, hey, I have some fund right now. Are you still interested? So that's something you can always do every time.
Okay, so Adekunle is asking, how do you sell yourself as a tutu graduate? Now, I forgot to add, when you are writing your statement of purpose too, if you have a very low CGPA,
don't put it though.
Also, you said?
If you have a low CGPA, please don't put it in your SOP. Please don't put it.
No, some schools actually require you to write why you have a low CGPA or why a part of the application is low, is not strong. I've seen schools that request you to write it that way. Now, if you have schools, because in your statement of purpose, you want to capitalize on your strengths, right?
Exactly.
Now, if there are schools that now want you to write why you have low CGPA, okay, number one, it means that they are willing to, of course, close their eyes to it if your other aspect are strong, the other aspect that you're presenting them as strong. Now, what you want to do is to tell them what you think happened, okay? And one of the things, it can be different things. So many things could be responsible. It may be a situation in school, it may be sickness during an exam, it may be anything, it may be your mental health, maybe a problem at home, okay? Be careful, but you want to write something which will come as a genuine reason, but will not also be an excuse. Because they may say, okay, what if the situation is the same as now? You don't want to write something which is constant, like, oh, you have so illness, which is terminal, or which will still imply that you still have the same illness as at present. You don't want to write something like that. Okay, so if you have a school requesting you to comment about your low CGPA, be careful what you want to write. Okay, but you can write things that happened during those periods that affected your mental health, that affected you physically, that affected family or whatever. I've seen schools that as that way. So we're asking, how do you sell yourself as a 2-2 graduate? Basically, what we've been talking
Sam,
about.
Also, in addition, when you write those try to write what's done so far to improve yourself in that regard, or what you intend to do in the future. Not just write the reasons why, write what you intend.
Yeah. So how do you sell yourself now? Remember, we have said that there's nothing you can do about your CGPA once it has been done. There's nothing you can do about it. There are things you can do something about. One of the things which is your experience. For example, the SOP that Innocentia shared with us now, I said that she volunteered in an area where which is directly related to what she's studying. Okay, we saw that she volunteered there. So you want to do that thing too. You want to volunteer. It does not have to be. See, I know someone. I think he has gotten his admission now. Maybe he's waiting to get his visa in Nigeria now and leave. We met, of course. He's part of the Twitter family. One of the things he told me he did was that while as an undergraduate, he went to a professor and told the professor he wants to work in his lab just to assist him. And he started going to his lab, started assisting him in different things. And his name was added to papers that have been published. Papers that have been published. Because, of course, he was part of the team that did the work. Okay, so it does not have to be that, oh, I didn't get the opportunity to do this, or my research, I was not able to do a strong research, or blah, blah, blah. Avail yourself, search for those opportunities. Even now that you've graduated, look for places where they do things that you're interested in. Volunteer yourself, render your services to them. Free of charge, you don't have to get paid for it, and if they pay you, good. I shared the example of my wife on Twitter a few days ago, how we got into IIT, and she went there as a research intern. Okay, they were paying her a stipend actually, which is for transport fare. Okay, so how do you package yourself? Those are the things you want to do. You want to build your experience. You want to try and publish if possible. You want to smack your GRE. You want to get a very high score in your GRE. You want to get a very good score in your GRE. I used to share about one of our friends who got admission to Yale. He had a 2-2, but he did his master's in UI, and then he had a good score. He had good research experience. He started his PhD, okay, and he has started publishing, okay, with 2-2. And with those experiences, he was chosen by, how many schools did I even say? 6 or 7 schools, including Yale. And now he's going to Yale. Even though I was trying to win him to come to Florida, but it didn't work. He didn't accept my proposal to come to Florida. So you can do that. 2-2 does not. I have a friend who just entered US this January. He had 2-2, but he built himself in another area, data science, data whatever, data, everything data. Now what he got was not even assistantship. He got scholarship. He's not even working. He's not doing anything for the school. Scholarship, straight away, 2-2. Yes, he has done a master's, but the master is not even related to what he's doing now. Okay, he went and trained himself in a different field entirely. Data science, data mining, data whatever. Now he's there. He's enjoying his scholarship now. All right. I hope that answers the question. Someone says, I'm applying for a second master's in political science because my first MSc score isn't enough for a PhD. How do I explain this in my SOP? Well, it depends on where you're applying to, really. Number one thing you need to know that even in US, people apply to for PhD with BSc. If you do an MSc here in the US, or when you come to do your PhD, you will discover that even those who are doing the MSc, you are in the same class. Okay, it's just that you are doing your own for 5 years. They will stop their own after 2 or 2.5 years or 3 years. They will stop their own and they will go. Okay. So number one thing you need to know is that with BSc, people apply for PhD. Number two thing you need to know is that, yes, it's not a crime to apply for a second PhD, MSc. I have a friend who we did BSc together in Nigeria. We did MSc together. The guy went on to UK to do an MSc. came to US, another MSc, then PhD. So it's possible you can have as many MSc as you want. Now, what you should have as a plus from the former MSc, from that first MSc, is that you will have experience. I believe by doing that MSc, you must have gained research experience. That is what you want to focus on. That's your strength. That's what you are taking away from that MSc, first MSc. You want to talk about the research experience which you have gained. Remember my friend I said had a tutu. Even though he had a tutu, but he did MSc and started PhD in Nigeria. What he got with that is research experience. You see, when you have that research experience, your grade will become, you have this good research experience, good SOP, you have good state, what do you call it, reference letters. They just forget about your BS. See, they know here that even the academic work is read and forget sometimes, many times. When you don't use it, they know. They know that all those things is trouble. Voila. If I used to tell my advisor that, see, this course I'm doing, even no matter how much I get in the coursework, after 6 months, I would have forgotten. She said, yes, now, since we are not using it. She said, sometimes she would tell me, don't bring it to me. I don't understand what you are doing. No, but we will just leave it. We'll leave it. It is what you are doing day in, day out. That research that is the most important. But you just need that grade to get there first. Now, if that grade is not strong enough, build your research experience. Volunteer if you have to volunteer. Somebody wrote on Twitter, was it the day before yesterday, when I mentioned the fact that you should volunteer. The lady told me she tried to volunteer in the place. They asked her to pay 50K to learn. If you have to pay to learn it, pay. It will say you will. For me, I used to think like a businessman sometimes. When I was spending money on this, all this scholarship, whatever, I was calculating the money, and I said, okay, when I start getting my salary, I converted it back to Naira. I said, see, I have made profits. I subtracted all the money I'll be spending. I said, yes, that's profits. It's not a loss. Okay, so you can do that. Pay if you have to pay. And someone saying is funding applicable to master's applicants? Yes, funding is available for master's applicants. Okay. So someone is asking about MBA, course-based masters. Okay, for course-based masters. So the same principle will still apply, even though you are not doing research. Though I must tell you beforehand that anything course-based is not likely to have as much funding as research-based. But I know there are some funding for MBA, I believe, and then each of the professors have their own specialty, okay? So even though you are not talking in terms of the research that you are doing, you are talking in terms of the experience you will gain, things you will get, okay? They are talking in terms of things you will get. So even though you're not talking research, you're talking about experiences, either in the real world, things you'll be able to do, what you're interested in, why you want to study. Same principle apply. What spurred your interest? What have you done about it? What have you learned? What experience have you gained so far? Okay, for example, have you worked in the bank? Have you dealt with money or business or whatever? Or have you had the business, have you had the position in the business in a firm before? All those things, they still follow the same principle. Just that you're talking in terms of the research, I mean, you're talking in terms of the experience, you're talking in terms of the professional aspect of it. And yes, I know some MBAs that are funded. Yeah, I think I've seen some before. So MBA SOP, you can find it online. I don't know, Sam, do we have MBA as part of the SOPs that were written, all those SOPs that we've been sharing?
I really don't know, but typically I've seen MBA SOPs from Harvard and MIT and stuff online. So you can just take a look at them, read them, and see, have an idea, and just have an idea of what it is. But yeah, I know, like for instance, I know MBA. Like for instance, I know Mastercard funds MBA. Every MBA. So I think the MBA normally is not funded, but organizations can fund MBA. Organizations can. So just check for. I know even Mo Ibrahim funds some MBA as well. So there's so many There's so many out there. Just find, just search it, you see.
Okay. So Innocenta, you're still asking a question. Now, how do one explain that he or she did an experimental research for undergraduate projects? I mean, same way you've been writing what you've been writing. For my undergraduate project, I did so and so, and I got this result. Just a summary. Okay. Just a summary. That's what you want to do. All right. Okay. I describe majority of them in research areas. I don't have interest or pursuit. See, Michael, so I've mentioned this, maybe you were not here. I said your research interest for now is the research area that is funded. Okay? See, if you try to say, oh, it is until you find that exact research area, in fact, let me even shock you. Many of the things that we think we know in Nigeria, because you just hear maybe occupational therapy, and you have a mindset, this is what they are doing. You hear condensed matter physics, you have a mindset, this is what they are doing. Hey, high energy physics, this is what they are doing. Many times when you get here, it's not the same. It's not the same thing as you have been perceiving. So even the research areas you think you can perform well, it's possible that it's the same as those ones. Everything will be new when you get here. Everything will be new. So what you should do is those research areas where there is funding, that's what your interest should be, you know, because when you get here, everything will still be new. And then it's possible that that thing which you think you know, you will love, you want, or you can perform well, that nobody's doing nobody has funding in that area. And when I was talking about SOP before, I mentioned the fact that one of the schools I applied to, they asked me to change my research interest because they can only admit one or two in that research interest I chose. And then they want to choose me. So they asked me to change it, that do I have any other interest? If I said no, automatically I'm lost. So I told them, oh, I also have interest in Professor so-so-so-so's work, blah, 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 and I mentioned it. So don't limit yourself to say, oh, you've not found what you have research interest in. So far is part of your line. So far is part of your field. Brother?
Yeah. And also let me say this. From my PI, he did chemistry, he did pure chemistry. Okay. Right now, he's a professor of food science and biochemistry. What they do here is, what you learn here is not even what you study, is the core skills that you generate while you're studying the program. So even if you're interested in, let's say, something else, and that something else does not have money, you can study something else and still get the same skills that you intend to get. And that is the skill that you use eventually. It's not what you study. It's the skill that you get from what you study. So look for where that, like I see people saying they want to do data science, and that course does not have funding, for instance. Why not do statistics or do something that has funding that you still get to use those tools that you will use if you're doing data science?
Yeah, very true, very true. So some will say, oh, data science or nothing, when statistics has a lot of funding, and you can just get into statistics, you still get the same skill as someone who has gone to do data science. Okay, so please don't be rigid, don't be stereotyped, don't be flexible. That's just the word. Be flexible. Okay, so we also need to secure professors, supervisors first before getting admission into MBA. I'm not sure, and I don't think so for US, but for Canada, I don't know. It seems you have to get a supervisor. Sam can speak to that for Canada. For MBA.
MBA typically is not a research program now. So MBA, you don't need any supervisor. MBA is not a research program. What you might need might just be GRE, maybe, and some years of experience. Because typically, for you to be competitive, you must have to show that you've worked. Like, you cannot finish. It's rare to see somebody who just finished school and get an MBA. It's quite rare.
I have someone who did physics. This guy is crazy. He did physics. He had a first class in physics, but guess what he's doing now in the US? MBA. And it was almost like immediately finished. He just came here, boom, MBA.
Was it funded?
No, he's not funded. It's not fully funded. Let me use that word.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can just tell us his name on LinkedIn. The guy who's interested in MBA can just check him on LinkedIn. Just try and create the bond and see what works. Because he might also know other steps that you can take to be fully funded. So one thing is that somebody that didn't get full funding, when he gets the program, you say, oh man, this is something I didn't do right. So you can know, there are other ways to get more money. So that's something you can also do.
Yeah.
Okay, so Samba and Samuel, can you hear me?
Yeah, ask a question. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So for someone like me, I have quite some experience, but nothing like a publication. Yeah, but so when I'm pushing my application forward, does that come handy aside the experience alongside how I structure my SOP? And when I try to look at what my CV and I try to relate it to most times the academic CVs, I start to wonder how would I, because my CV has been a lot more of a lot of practical experience in terms of practice, but when I try to look at the academic CVs, I see where no publications, for instance. Yeah. So how do I balance that out too?
Okay. So as much as you have said that publication will increase your chances, it does not mean that when you don't have a publication, you don't stand a chance at all. No.
Okay.
Even though it will increase your chances, but when you don't have it, it does not disqualify you. Of course, it simply means that those who have publications will rank higher in the pool of applicants. Okay. Yeah, so that's just what is basically mean. For example, I've lived in Nigeria. I didn't have any publication. Yeah, and I think I wanted to publish, but maybe I was not. I don't know. Somehow I just didn't get to have the publication. Yeah, so it's very possible for many applicants, and in fact, many professors here, they understand that many of us coming from Africa don't really have the research experience. They understand that. Yeah, they understand that, and then they put that in consideration in dealing with us. Of course, they know that we have to learn. They know that coming here, our first point is to learn. But when they see people who are already doing research, who are already publishing, they will grab them. That's why my friend had 6 or 7 offers. Imagine. He said, in fact, my friend has a family. They even funded his family, included funding for his family. When he told one of the schools that he's rejecting their application, they were so like, why, this and that? Because he told them Yale funded his family. So they asked him, you should have told us, we have increased the funding too, to include your family too. You understand?
Yeah.
So when they see those who have that, you will rank high, very high in the application pool. Yeah.
All right.
But it does not mean that when you don't have it, you are automatically relegated. No, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hello, Mr. Sam.
Yeah, John.
I just want to add some things. Well done, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let me start from the publication. I want to say that even if you don't have publication, you can try to look for other things that shows that you have the potential to do research. So you can consider things like maybe taking some courses, maybe online, some online courses that would help strengthen your profile. Being in graduate school at the moment, research is important, but then at the moment, they also understand that coming from places like Africa at times, it's quite difficult. And so you can take some courses to strengthen your profile. Then the second thing I wanted to talk about is that I just want to suggest that applicants also try to use other platforms to strengthen applications like conferences. Due to COVID, there are a lot of virtual conferences at the moment. Before I came to graduate school last year, back in Nigeria, I tried to use some also. So some conferences are virtual, and so I think it's a key point that helps us at the moment, coming from Nigeria, Africa in general. Because when it was physical, you can't attend quite easy. Can't attend, but now they are virtual. So even before I started my MSc, I attended 2 virtually, and And you can include it. And in fact, if you don't have a publication at the moment, it's something that you can just maybe make a review or something and just maybe you want to present. Even if you don't present, most of these conferences always have a point where you network with, where you get to network with other researchers. And it is one of those things that they see the potential that this person is striving at to, has the willingness to do research. For you to stay in a conference of 2-3 hours,
Yeah.
it means you have willingness. And can tell you I've been able to have link through that means even before leaving Nigeria. And so it's something you can try to check Europe, check North America. There are always a lot of virtual conferences. Go on LinkedIn. Yeah, go on LinkedIn network. When you attend those conferences, when you now send your SOP, you can always remind the person. No, let me say, when you send mails to professor now, yeah, that's what I want to say. You can remind the professor that, okay, I met you in so and so. I listened to you via so and so conference. I was a friend of mine got a PhD funding to something like that in Canada towards the end of last year.
Yeah.
We are both in Europe. We attended the conference together. And when the professors saw both of us, she was like, "Oh, she's enthusiastic that you can even follow me up to this conference," and it was virtual. And so she requested to go back and read the mail he had previously sent, and that's how I got funding for the program. So try to make use of virtual conferences that are ongoing at the moment. A time will come when it will no longer be virtual. So I think for now, try to make good use of it. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much,
Very
John.
important point, John. Very important point. So, Adams, you're asking here that I understand that project research on global challenge is more catchy than local challenge, like a research about the importance of money policy in Nigeria economy. Then I've rephrased this globally in my SOP. So, Adams, what I would say to your question is this. Remember, we have said that you want to do research. Your research interest is basically the interest of the research of the professors there. Now, if what you are doing presently is about Nigeria, yes, you can put it as part of your research experience, what you have done or what you are doing presently. But what you want to do, you don't really have too much say over it, except you look at what the professors are doing. Okay, you can't really say, oh, you write in your SOP, I want to do clinical money in Nigeria. No, you want to research, your interest is aligned to what the professors have interest in. That's what I believe, Adams. I don't know if you think, because number one, they're not asking you to write a research proposal. They're not asking you to write a research proposal. So it's not as if you have to start breaking it down. Of course, you can still, I'm not saying you cannot do a research on Nigeria, on things in Nigeria. But when you are doing your SOP, remember, you are talking about the general research areas. And then if you have done this in the past, you can write it there. Okay? Of course, if it is what you will still love to do, you can include it. But remember, you don't want to deviate from the fact that you are interested in the research interest of the professors.
Mr. Sam, can I add something?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I want to say that once you are talking about a research for a program, MSc or PhD, and you are being sponsored, you have to understand that it is no longer at your own disposition to tell what you want to do. If you want to decide what you want to research on, then you can easily fund yourself.
Yeah.
So the funding is for a particular purpose. So you have to always find a way to get yourself into what is being funded at the moment. I just want to cite a friend of mine. Recently got a PhD offer, and for the lab, it's not exactly what he wants to do. And the professor said something, and that's what I want to refer to. The professor said that the funding for the project is from an industry, and the research group have to carry out that particular research. And so that's the essence of the funding. And so he said that if you decide you want to do something else, well, we can always allow you to come to the lab and still do your research, provided that the primary focus of your research is what we are being funded for. So that is how research is generally. You have to go with what is being funded for. Yeah. Thank you.
So, what do I want to add to it? For example, in my lab now, you cannot come to the lab now and say you want to do research on nuclear reactor in our lab. We don't deal with nuclear reactors. Okay, so if you have that in your statement of purpose, nuclear reactor, nobody's working on nuclear reactors here. They just push your application somewhere. Or if you say, oh, you want to work on, what do you call it, nuclear structure. Now, my advisor showed me someone who sent a message to her from Nigeria, and the person wrote beautifully well. The person wrote, oh, he has read my gas paper on this, so. He has read some things about the lab. He has read this. He's interested in the. I mean, my guy gave her a very good response. She asked me about the school. What do I think about the school? I gave her my response, a good response. And then, you see, it's because the person wrote about something, what we do here. Okay, if the person has been writing about, hey, blah, blah, this is what we can do in Nigeria, it's not bad to say this is what you have done in Nigeria, but you have the research skills needed. You believe you have research skills needed to do what is being done now. Okay, so someone is asking now, you can get over a BSc limitation, low CGPA, but you have experience, you have experience in relevant field, abstract publication, currently working to publish an article with mentor. So what I believe you still continue to do, Blessing, is to keep on building your profile, okay? That you have a low CGPA is not a death sentence. Keep on building your profile, and then with your profile, I wouldn't suggest you just apply it generally, like just cast and just wait and hope. I want to discuss with advisors before you apply to the schools, okay? With at least the fact that you have started publications, you have been doing some research work, discuss with the advice with individual professors and see if you can get their blessing, in quotes. That's your name, right? If you can get their blessing, if you can get approval, okay? If they can say, oh, I have you as my student, I'm funding you, and then you'll be given RA, then there's nothing they will do, you'll be funded, okay? So that's one good way you can get over your BS limitation. Continue to do what you are doing, okay? Continue to build yourself. If your program requires GRE, I don't know if they do require GRE, write it, get a very good score, okay? And then make those contacts with the professors. Make those contacts with the professor. So someone is saying, I review most SOP, that we're not talking more about funding. Okay, I believe we have to just respond to what people feel is necessary for now. And then I only intend to do 1 or 2 SOP, which I've done. And I believe you're able to get some things there. And I shared some samples, which you can get on Twitter. It's there on Sam's page. That's a spin tweet. I went to his spin tweet when I was bringing it up here. So I was able to open it from there. You can see those examples there. If there is time before 2:15, we may still review 1 more SOP generally. Okay. Let me just see all the questions. I did a postgraduate diploma in general. Okay, that's blessing. All right, I've answered that. Okay. So someone saying it's such a headache to find a research area in law which have funding. Do you have any hack you can suggest for the search? Yeah, it's headache indeed.
Oh,
yeah.
So there's somebody that I think you should follow. Yeah, I know plenty of people who are funded in law. In fact, people have won Venia scholarships a lot in law in Canada. Okay, my response is to Canada. There's one girl on Twitter. Her name is Soma Okibe. She's funded at the University of Victoria also. There's other Dolapo Makinde, another lady, her name is Miriam something. She's in Toronto. She's a Venia scholar. And Venia scholarship is $50,000. So she's a super scholar. She has won Cambridge scholarship. No, she's good. There's so many funding for law. There's money in law. There's money for people who study law.
Old Sam Taito, as he's mentioning those names.
So what I'll do is, after this conversation, I'll tweet their names. I'll switch their names for you because I know them personally and they will allow me to switch their names. So I'll switch their names for you guys. So they have so much scholarships in law, like so many. So what you have to do is, first of all, every university in Canada that I know of, in fact, including UBC, for instance, for PhD, there's a standard scholarship for law, and that's like 30K every year. It's standard. So there's so many schools like that. Even we had a meeting with one professor, Christian Gideon, the last time. He's a professor in law. He has funding. So in fact, he has a student on that. There was a student from Nigeria he had on that meeting as well. One girl, as in, like her name is Miriam. So there's funding. It's just that most Nigerians are typically, like, you want us to tweet, there's law. We can't really always tweet that. But if you go to each department and find, trust me, you would find funding. There is always funding. Always.
I was tweeting this week about on fundings available in the humanities and theater arts. Some people wonder, theater arts funding, so much funding. It's because we've not searched. But yeah, you said, as Sam has said, they are very much available. Someone is saying, should you add your good GRE score in your SOP? GRE score in SOP. I don't know. Sam, John, GRE score in SOP.
Well, so it depends on what the GRE score is. If you have something like 320, and you're talking about in your SOP, and you're trying to show your analytical, how level, like for instance, let's say you have a low CGP, right? And you have a very high GRE score, and you're trying to explain why your CGP was not good. Like I said, try also to show other things that you have done that has improved, like in your level over the years. At that level, I think you can put it. At that level, I think it's fair enough to put it. Since I didn't do well, like let's say you did engineering, and you had like 3.2, and you know that engineering is a score that requires high level quantitative reasoning, and you didn't do well, and you do GRE and score 320. It means that you have improved on how you've improved on your math strength, and is what and is what's saying, all right?
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Yeah.
Okay, let me add also. Yeah,
John.
I also want to add that adding your GRE score, like Sam said, if it's very high, well, but the thing is, you also know that the admission committee can see your entire profile. So you are submitting your GRE. So whether you mention it in the SOP or not,
they'll still see.
They cannot.
They'll still see it.
They will still see it. So the only thing is, like we say that in your SOP, you should not regurgitate what is on your CV back into your SOP.
Yeah.
Like that. So if you are mentioning anything in your SOP, the hack I always give for SOP is that make sure every line counts. Like if you read the line, you ask yourself, if I remove it, would it affect my chance? If I leave it there, would it increase my chance? And so you don't just want to be mentioning something that they already know without it increasing chances. So probably you want to highlight something like, okay, I've been able to increase my writing skills and my stuff like that. Maybe in your analytical writing, you got maybe a 5 points.
Yeah.
So something like that. So you want to okay, this was evident in my GRE score where I showed profound. So you don't just say, okay, I had 315 in GRE. That is a fact. It does not.
Yeah, it's just standing alone.
It's just standing alone. So if you
what
want to
point
mention,
are you trying to prove with that?
Exactly. So it should be proving a point. Yeah.
That's good. And he's asking again. He said for low grade in FUTA, he had to do photography to fend for himself. So can he write that as a reason why his grade was low?
Well, for the SOP, if it's for SOP, you can put that. But if you are writing a professor, I don't think.
Don't put that for a professor.
Don't put that for a professor because the professor is really he does not even have time. Number one, talk more of reading stories about it. So if it's for an SOP, like I also said earlier, there has to be a justification as to why you want to mention it. But to be honest, I always see putting limiting statements like that at times to hinder your chances, because if you have built your profile beyond your grade, you might not necessarily always need to mention some of those things.
So I want to say, I don't know, you should only write it if the school, I think, is asking you to write it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because if you have built your profile, have everything or every other good things, you will just focus on your strengths. Yeah, but I know many schools advise, I've seen many schools advise that you should state why you had a low CGPA. I know,
Well,
I
I
don't want to
want to
take
say,
it as general.
yeah, I don't think it's general. Most
Yeah.
times you might see that in maybe you're applying for a scholarship, but if you're applying for a research assistantship position in the US or Canada, the basic thing you want to first do is to convince the professor and to convince the committee that you can be taken, not pointing out why, except if it was stated like, okay, these are guidelines. And I think those kind of SOPs, they always state what, it's not like just write an SOP. They always, it's maybe 1 or 2 essays included. Like I mostly see it with scholarship where it's like an essay structure, not exactly an SOP, where they
So
tell you
I've seen it with schools, with SOP. They say in your SOP, make sure you include blah, 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 goals, why this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I think for such SOPs, they have a specific thing they are asking for. They have what they want to get from you. So, but if that is not the case, if you want to include it, then just make sure you justify it, not just a bland statement.
Yeah, and then use the good parts, things, what has changed now, right? You want to tell us what has changed. So, for example, your new profile, things you've been able to do to yourself, you can include that. So, just like what Sam said the other time.
So also let me say something. There's something that John said about if you have built your grades beyond your, as in if you put your profile beyond your grades. Now listen, guys, everybody have different strengths. When I was applying for scholarship, I didn't have any profile aside my grades. What I had was my first class. I didn't have any outstanding other profile. Now, if in your case you don't have outstanding grades, you should start to look out for other things that can make you outstanding. That's how life is. Now, if your opportunity to have both grades and stuff that are outstanding, it makes life better. So the essence of all these things you're saying is for you to find out, like if you listen to Sam, he said he didn't have any publication, but he was sure that first class in physics was a hot cake, at least. So if you know that you don't have something like really exceptional, like in terms of grades, start to, like I see people who say, they don't want to write GRE, and they don't want to write TOEFL, they don't want to publish, they don't want publication. I'm like, I have a tutor. How would you not get a scholarship? Like you want to volunteer and still be paid. Like you still want to collect money. Like you typically will not get all these things. So if you know that you're lacking in something, please try and make it up, in some other ways. And to also support what John said, in your SOP, like we also said before, for instance, my prof said that it's best to write an SOP between 500 to 750 words. Now, if you have to write that, it means that every line will count. Because if you write, I studied BSc biochemistry in photo, that's already known.
That's known, exactly. That's known.
That's already known. If you want to, so why not say the skills you got from that degree, which is not likely CV. So because the thing is that I see people like I saw that like SOP reviewed at first, she had like 1.5 pages, and then you could see that there are things that could be met, there are things that could be totally removed, there are things that could be rewarded.
Yeah.
Because remember that when writing SOP, you're also trying to show your writing skill, which is a core skill required in research. So all of those things in combination would really help. Also, guys, please just don't watch this alone. Go and watch our previous videos. Go to Sam's YouTube and watch our previous videos. We have lots of videos, because if you watch this one, you may not really have the full concept. So go and watch every video that you can watch so that you get an idea from what we've talked about before and what you're talking about now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. That's very beautiful. So please, someone is saying, do they have specific things they want you to put in your SOP? I believe many schools tell you things they want to put in, but even if they didn't tell you things they wanted to include, just know that first thing, just like I've said, those things I've mentioned, it is personal. You want to tell your story, not just any story. You want to tell the story of what inspired you to study what you studied in the university and why you want to continue it. You want to tell us what you have done about it, what you have learned, the experiences you have gained, the courses you have land. You want to tell us what you do presently now. Okay, you want to tell us what you do presently now if it is related. Okay, you know, you may want to study engineering and presently to make ends meet in Nigeria, you are doing photography. You don't need to tell us that you are doing photography. Okay, or you don't need to tell us you are selling clothes. Biochemists selling clothes. Okay, no. But things that are included, and that's why we've said do volunteer jobs, do to boost your experience and all those things. You should do them. And then you want to tell us why you are studying it. Then you also want to include in your SOP the professor you love to work with, the professor you love his research, that which is your own research interest. Remember, we have said your research interest is what the professor is working on, or the professors are working on. You don't have a separate research interest from the professor. If your research interest is different from what the professors are doing, you cannot. Nobody will create a new group for you. Okay, you are not a professor who will come to create a new group. You are a student who wants to learn. So you learn from what is available. You do research in what is available. And I also want to mention why you are choosing the schools, the specific features, okay, that make the school stand out to you. And then you want to mention your goals after graduation. Basically, those are the things that your statement of purpose should include. So that has answered the question. So someone is asking a question here. Blin Gutap. I'm sorry if I pronounced that name wrongly. That should be Indian, I believe. Okay. So you're asking if it's possible to connect with any Dutch scholars. John, you are in Europe. Any Dutch scholar in Germany. What's the name of this guy? Okay, come, stop.
I don't know of any Dutch scholar, but I know if you ask Jide might know since he was.
I know two Dutch scholars, but they're ladies. And they just won that recently. So and they're on Twitter. So if this person is on Twitter, you can just send me a DM. I'll just say hi, Sam, and then I'll send you a DM, and then I'll put those names for you.
So GitHub, if you're on Twitter, you can just raise that, tag any of us, and then we'll blow the issue up, and then you'll be able to connect with the Dutch scholars. It's very important. Okay, I believe we have exhausted all the questions, and this is almost 2, and I think we have. Oh, you're Nigerian. Sorry, that name. I don't know. It's interesting. Okay. All right. So I think we have really learned some beautiful things today. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, John. Thank you for everyone who contributed, asked questions, and all those stuff. Oh, sorry, it's almost 7 here in Ibadan, Nigeria. I see. That's true. Sorry, it's 2 here in Florida, and I still need to get to African stuff. Okay, Buluwatife, you want to use mic to ask your question? Please use it. Use.
Yeah, Mr. Sam.
Yeah.
Good evening here from Nigeria. I joined the session a bit late, but
okay.
I was able to follow along with the SOP. The thing is, I applied to several schools. That was for fall 2021 last year. I actually had a first class in chemistry, and I have 1 publication at the moment. But of course, I'm working on 2 at the moment, which should be published before the end of next month.
That's good.
But my concern is that during my for 2021 applications last year, most grad school that got back to me, because I've had to deal with a lot of rejections.
Yeah.
I must be sincere, I've had to deal with a lot of rejections. And they kept on emphasizing that though I have fantastic grades, check my transcripts, they are good, but they keep on talking about my research experience. They have some candidates or applicants as well that have research experience more than I do. So that brings me to that question that how many publications are necessary, at least for the minimum publications you need to put in a strong application for this grad school applications. So what's the minimum?
Yeah, I think I understand where you're coming from now. Now, remember, I always say this, that the main issue about getting this funding, this admission, is about those you are contesting against. Can you mention the schools you're applying to? Maybe you're applying to Harvard, most other Ivy Leagues.
Not at all. I applied to New Mexico State University. I applied to Case Western Reserve University. I also applied to University of Kentucky. I applied to, I can't really recall. I think I have the list somewhere here.
Okay.
I can University of Toledo is also one of it, actually. And most of the grad courts, because anytime I'm being given a rejection mail like that, I call it love letter anyways. Anytime I'm being given a rejection mail like that, I tend to ask them for questions like comments, why, the reason why I'm being rejected. And most of them, when they reply my mail, it's not even talking about grades or not talking about, they don't even talk about my SOP. What they always emphasize on is research experience.
Research.
Yeah, research experience, basically.
Yeah, I think it's all based on those who are in the same admission pool with you. Okay? It doesn't mean that you can't be accepted with what you have, but because there are more people in that pool who are most likely ranking higher than you. So what you should do is not give up. Can I suggest that you apply to my school next time you want to apply?
I've tried your school. Yeah, I've tried. I've actually checked the requirements. I even mailed the grad code. But most schools in Florida, they always request for official transcripts.
No, that's after you get the final admission. You can use unofficial to begin your application. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Chemistry year, they admit Nigerians almost every year, like 5 Nigerians almost every year. Chemistry departments here. I don't know how those chemistry guys are doing. Yes. In fact, this year they admitted maybe how many, 4 or 5, and maybe 2 Nigerians they rejected. They went to another school. Something like that. I remember.
Okay, so I think you've even told me that once before on Twitter. And there was a time we were exchanging messages via your DM. I told you about my experiences with rejections, where you told me not to give up. It will definitely come. So I'll keep on working on the research experience. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to work on a volunteering role for one of my professors on his research projects. So I just want to take that up now to sharpen and add to my research.
Please apply to my schools. People, I don't know how they do it. They just enter. Nigerians, if you enter chemistry department, sometimes you feel as if it's this UI, like you understand.
All right. Thank you very much.
That's good.
Mr. Sam, I just want to encourage him. Like, I don't think you are doing anything wrong. Just like Mr. Sam said earlier, like it's just the pool of those applying. And again, the thing is, some of the schools maybe they've exhausted the funding for that time, so they just look for something to tell you. That is just the truth. It's not like you are doing something bad. A friend of mine also in the US recently, I didn't know that at times they do give outside interview. For PhD, they still ask you to do like an assessment where they give you a task to do. This was the first time I was seeing it. And initially, the professor did not give him, the professor was open to taking him. Then he got other candidates. Then he gave him like an assigned task, like a coursework that, okay, you take it. So submit the project at so deadline. Just looking for a way to reduce the number, to cut the number. So they just have more pool of candidates. That's just the thing. So don't give up. Just apply and also look at the schools you're applying. Like Mr. Sam said, his school has funding. So just use inside that process. Yeah, like on LinkedIn.
Use in that insider process. Yeah.
Connect to people on LinkedIn in the schools you're applying. I did that a lot when I was looking for funding also before coming to Europe on scholarship in the US. I connect to people on LinkedIn that are in that schools, Nigerians in that schools on LinkedIn. So what I do is I ask them questions, and so they tell me, send a mail to so and so professor that they are sure that this person is working on so and so thing. So it works faster than just random process also.
Yeah. Remember, insider thing is it works anywhere, not only in Nigeria. I must tell you, see, my school, I remember this new committee that this new incoming students, my advisor was telling me that, okay, all these students, they are just so good. I don't even know how to even cut them down. You understand? They are just so good. So I said, madam, when I was applying, this is what they did. Interview. My school, we don't do interview ordinarily. So one of the things she was able to do to cut them down was to do interviews with them, do all those things. And that's what many schools are doing now, okay? Just to be able to, once you start talking, you may write something on the paper and you can't defend it. So just know that this one, we cut him away. And then people at schools are doing that now. They just make interviews, like John was saying, give tasks, do all those stuff. And then those who cannot meet up, they just cut them off and then choose those they want to choose. Adebisi, thank you for the good, what do we call this now? Review that you just gave us. I mean, why should we be condescending on anyone? We are all a product of the information we've been privy to. For me, most of the information I got when I got them was from Nairaland. I was very active on Nairaland there. Why should we shy away from sharing the same information with people? Or because people don't know, we should now start talking on people and say, you don't know this and that. No. Okay, so please, if we have done some things on CVs today, you can unmute yourself if you want to ask a question. That will be the last question of Chidera. So go to your CV, your SOP again, write it again. Remember, you want to make each paragraph fall into one another. One of the things I observed in Innocentia's SOP is that paragraphs, they don't link into one another. It's like each paragraph is standing alone, which is not a good way of writing, okay? You want to make sure there is a flow from one paragraph to the other. It makes it interesting to read. For example, if you give me as a reviewer, as a what do you call, admission committee now, to take that SOP, I will get, if not for the interesting parts, I may get lost along the line. What are you saying in this paragraph? Okay, what are you saying? So professors get lost, they don't know what you're saying again, and they don't have the time to try to understand what you are saying. You understand? They don't have that time. They have their, yes, I will give you the floor now, just 1 minute. They have their research work, they have their class they are teaching, they have their own children at home, they have this committee they are doing, they are on the committee of a student who want to defend his prospectus, they are on the committee of another student who want to defend his thesis, they are on different, so they just want to quickly read, what's this guy saying? If they don't understand, they just rate it somehow and put it somewhere. Okay? So please make sure there is a connection and it's easy to understand. Read it, give it to your friend. Can you understand what I'm saying? Give it to someone who is not in your course, in the same field with you at all. Ask him to read it. Can you understand it? It's not too hard. It's just for someone to be able to understand. That's all. Chidera, you can ask a question, please.
Hi, good evening from here.
Good evening.
Please, my question is how do we find professors to reach out to?
The website, the school website.
Okay.
Yeah,
there's an option for that.
Yeah, go to the school website. You will see faculty. Just click on faculty. You will see professors' names. Okay, then you will see what they are doing. Or you click on research. Once you click on research, it comes with a list of the researches that have been done in the department. Click on any of the research links. You see the professors who are doing the research. So in different schools, different websites, they are done differently. So you can see that there.
Okay, and then the last thing is, how do we know of the department that has funding? Like, I studied psychology, so how do I know that this my department has funding?
Okay, let me just respond quickly. First of all, Mrs. O tweeted something about University of Ottawa, whose professors in psychology are taking students. So look for that.
Oh, University of what? University of what?
Ottawa. Okay, my University of Ottawa. OWTA.
Oh, okay.
So
that's
and
for
so
MSc, not PhD.
Well, she didn't special, like it can be for any, really.
You have to search
for any. So you have to search. So typically,
You have to
like
search.
honestly, like you always say, there is. But I was surprised when Sam brought funding for French. I'm like,
Yes, French.
who is paying somebody to come and teach French?
Check my tweets. You see those French scholarships. I mean, those French
Yeah, I
assistantships.
saw it.
Yeah,
I saw it
You
today.
see theater arts.
I was shocked though. And non-STEM will be shouting STEM. Where there's scholarship for them. There's scholarship for them. So
You know
what you have to do
think
is we are always on Twitter. All right, we are always on Twitter. So just search and search. If you cannot navigate, you can just tweet at anybody and then we'll help you navigate. But at least start to search. So you can just type, let's say, top 50 schools in US. When you type the schools and then you find the school, then you not type the school, MSc or PhD in psychology, e.g., like Florida State University. You just type it and then you go, you find research or you find faculty, and then you see their professor's name and you see their email. But finding those email and name is not enough. What is most important is sending them an email. And don't do that until you know how to. Because if you shoot your first shot and it's bad, you've lost that spot.
You've lost it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's very true.
So that's something I should think about.
And one thing you want to know if they have funding, if you have gone through the links I shared many times, you'll discover that the link take you exactly to the page where they state the amount they are paying. I don't know if anyone has clicked any of the links I share on Twitter before, because I know many people just retweet and then they don't click it. So click one of them and see. You see that it takes you exactly to the page where they talk about financial aid. Okay, under financial aid, they mention the types of financial aid they have. They mention scholarship, research assistant, teaching assistant, and they mention the amount they will pay. So through that, you know that this department has funding. There are many schools that I've seen in the process of searching when I want to tweet out those things. When I go to financial aids and they don't have, and they're talking about student loan, I just close it. They don't have fund. Those ones don't have funding for students. When you see any school start talking about student loan, forget it. Student loan is not for international students, it's for domestic students. That means they don't have funding. And it's not, they're not doing you, they're doing you good. I mean, they're doing the students good because they will be able to study, but they'll still pay back later with interest.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really
once you start, look for student financial aid. That's what you should be aiming at, financial aid. I want to see what do they give. All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome.
A quick one, Mr. Sam. I saw your recent tweet on Twitter, it was a few days ago, about having to not to send another set of recommendation letters should in case you've been rejected by a school and you want to apply back to that school, and how you have to you don't need to start bothering professors again to send recommendation letter. How does that work? Is it that I'll need to mail the grad code and state that to them in a mail, or how do I go about it?
Yes, you need to do that. That's what I did when I started applying again. I didn't want to bother my professors with getting a new recommendation letter and all those stuff. So I mailed the grad coordinator that say, I'm applying again. I applied last year. Can you use the recommendation letters my professors wrote last year for me this year? And they said, that's fine. And they just applied it. And the next time I checked my profile, the recommendation letter was already there. So they have the record with them. Some schools state that it must be within 1.5 years, like it must not be more than 1.5 years, 1.5 years, that the initial recommendation has been written. So it's not like there's there's a bracket on it. Many schools, FSU, for example, stated 1.5 years.
Okay, because I've been, working myself up on how I start telling these professors again. How it is with Nigerian professors. How to start bothering them about recommendation.
My professor told me that, but I did this for you now the last time.
Exactly.
Like University of, I think, Utah, most of them, when you go to apply, they even give you the provision to choose if you had applied within the last 1 or 2 years. So you only build a lot of things on your profile, only need some update, but recommendation letters are still there.
So, but if you think you need a new one, So you have to do a new one, reach out to them. But for me, I felt what they wrote for me was okay, so I had to do that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
There's
it.
something I used to do when I was applying. I don't know if it's right. I really don't know if it's right, but I'll say it here because this is in-house. So when I used to apply, my professors have given me a Word document with their signature. Like they gave me like a head Word document, their signature, blah, blah, blah. And they've written stuff inside. So sometimes when I put their email and they get those links, they forward me the link and then I edit whichever Word document is given to me, change it to PDF and upload it on their behalf. So it will show, so they receive an alert that I've uploaded it as if they uploaded it. I don't know if that works for people that has computer as a skill. I don't know if they will detect that I did it or not, but at the time, that's like
I think it all depends on the relationship with your professor.
Yeah. So
because
it
I remember
on,
one of my professors gave me his email address, his password. Like it told me it may not be chance. So when the email came in, I already have the letter he wrote for me. Okay. When the email came in, and what I did was just logging into his email. I uploaded the letter. Okay. And I told him I've done it, and then that was all. So it depends on the relationship with the professor. I don't think it's wrong if there's a communication between you and the professor. So far as aware.
And also that's why we are saying try and build these friendships. I just got a WhatsApp chat from one of my professors that is competing for a dean for a dean in my school, and this comes because I actually call them once in a month or sometimes once in a year or sometimes I send them gifts. Like Father, I even sent one small gift of I think $20, and it was like a watch. So sometimes just try help them. Sometimes call them. Sometimes talk to them. Sometimes visit them. Try, because the better your relationships with them are, the easier you can get reference.
Easier, yeah. Imagine a professor giving me his password and giving a student a password to your school email. You understand what that means?
Yeah,
not just any Gmail.
So
so build relationship is very important. Very important. Thank you, Sam, for that. Very, very important. Send them messages. Send them gifts. I buy gifts for some of them. Send them those things. It's very important. When I go to my professor's office, you see me, I'm the one running around to fix there's no light now in Nigeria now. That's our issue. She's trying to fix an inverter, fix this. I'm the one moving around to fix this, go to SOP to go and buy something, come back, all those stuff. So please be useful to them too. Not when you are good to them, they will see you, they will be good to you. They are human beings too. Or everybody, sorry for those who don't understand Yoruba. Their head will swell. All right. So it's been such a good time here today. I think it's a good time to stop so that I can go and buy African stuff for my madam. She's expecting at home. Thank you for everyone who attended. If you attended, just let me know on Twitter if you attended this. I think I want to follow everybody who attended this meeting. It shows something about you. So I would love to follow you if I'm not following you already. It seems I'm following some people here from the names I can see. But if I'm not following you already, please drop it that you attended this meeting and I follow you quickly. It aids communication in and out of Twitter.
Yeah, of course. Once you tweet at Sam, I'll see it. And of course, I'll follow you as well.
Yeah. All right. God bless you. Really good.